What's up, boys? Tricks Ridiculous back with another video. So we've got some news in Marvel's Avengers. The game has life all of a sudden. Basically, the deep dive war table has been announced for Hawkeye. The date, unless you've been living under a rock, you should have seen this information. But we're going to talk through today. What does that really mean for the game? Will that bring players back? Is it enough? Before we do, be sure to like and subscribe if you do like the content. It really does help the channel out. And we're really close to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. But let's get into it. So the War Table Deep Dive for Hawkeye will be premiering on February 16th. So just a little over 2 weeks at the time of this recording. They'll be showing pretty much the operation, right? Deep dive into Hawkeye himself and a little bit of a showcase of the next gen. So next gen, pretty cool. A lot of people are looking forward to that, but the real big thing is the actual operation. So I do expect this war table to be pretty similar to what we saw with Kate. I expect an overview of the skills, kind of a little bit of gameplay of the character, and then really just a tiny little bit about the actual campaign itself, what kind of the backbone is going to be, and then, you know, that'll be that. Now, as far as when Hawkeye is actually coming out, it's still anyone's guess. The difference in time between Kate's war table and when she released was about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. But the date from when they actually announced Kate's war table to when it premiered was only 2 days. They announced it 2 days in advance, and then they played it, and then they said she's coming in 2 weeks. So maybe, you know, the 2 week to the announcement, maybe they're doing something different, I hope. That, you know, they release the war table and then, you know, he just comes out like very soon after. That's speculation. It's probably not the case, but worst case, even if it's the same time as Kate, we're going to get him, you know, first week of March, or maybe just a little into the second week of March. But either way, pretty excited for it. You know, hopefully it'll be good. As far as what he does, you know, it's really anyone's guess. It's kind of just, you know, we'll have to see. They haven't really given too much information. They did give a very small amount of information just on the live stream this past Friday, that he will have pulsar arrows and tripwire arrows. Basically, the pulsar arrows will stick to the ground where you shoot them and can be remote detonated. Okay, that's kind of similar to what Kate has now with explosive arrows. You can set them to stick to walls. Not a super exciting skill. But then a tripwire arrow, just like a group of 3 arrows, they're saying, connected by like energy or lightning, that'll actually knock enemies back. So that could be pretty interesting, kind of a support arrow. They did say that he will have many more arrows than that. That's just a very small taste. So, you know, we'll get into more about his actual kit when it happens and when, you know, we get all that information. But the big question is, will Hawkeye bring players back? Well, I think it's a yes and a no, right? Yes, he will bring players back. He is a bigger name than Kate Bishop. A lot of people were taken aback by Kate Bishop. They didn't really understand, like, why they even released Kate Bishop. Of course, after they did release her, a lot of players, you know, do like Kate Bishop, myself included. I think she's a phenomenal character, but she's not an A-lister, right? Hawkeye is definitely an A-lister. Everyone has been asking about Hawkeye for a long time, and I do expect that players, you know, will come back to play him. As far as them staying back, that's a whole nother question entirely, and I think that they really need to get the end game right. We know that the Clone Labs and the Omega level threat Super Adaptoid fight are coming, but we have no new information. It was asked on the live stream on Friday many times, and they have said in clear language they don't have an update on that. Now, one can only hope that they do release the Clone Labs and the Super Adaptoid fight before Hawkeye actually comes out, because if they don't, what's going to happen is you're going to get basically the same thing that happened with Kate, but to a larger effect, where players will come back. Because you got to think, anyone who bought the game can come back at any time. All the DLC is free, right? So it's a very easy re-entry to get back into the game. You literally just re-download it, log back in, and the new content's available. It's true for anyone who has bought the game. Anyone who has bought the game at any time for any price, whatever, they are basically a candidate to be able to come back and, play the new content. But will they stay back? No, I don't think they will. Not if we don't get the endgame content. The same thing happened with Kate, where players came back, they played Kate's operation, they realized they were doing the same hives and the same vault missions and the same villain sectors for the fourth month in a row, and they were like, no, okay, the campaign was cool, but now we're done again until something else happens, right? So they really need to get the end game right. That is the kicker. If there is an end game, if players come back to this game and they play Clint's story and they say, wow, what a great campaign that was. And wow, now that I'm done with the campaign, I've got this clone lab thing that I have to pair up with other players, and it's a much more complicated activity. And wow, look at over here. I've got this Omega level threat version of the Super Adaptoid fight, and it's got its own unique loot. Wow, that's amazing. And wow, maybe we even get another Omega level threat fight. Keep in mind, Kate Bishop, even though it didn't happen, was supposed to come with the Omega level threat of the Super Adaptoid on launch. Of course, that didn't happen, but we don't know if Hawkeye is, expected to have the same thing, and it could be an Omega level threat version of the Maestro fight, right? And we know, this was a little bit of speculation, but we know now, according to some of the tweets here, that Maestro is in fact going to be the villain. So if you can read this one right here, I don't know who asked this question, who that green beefcake is, but basically, they're saying that's Maestro. He's a terrifying combination of Hulk's strength and rage and Bruce Banner's incredible intellect. Definitely a villain you'll want to watch out for. All right, so I had some speculation that he might have been a good guy because we did get the Maestro skin for Hulk teased early on in some early dev builds. So I thought he might have been a good guy, but it looks like based on this, it is confirmed he will be a villain. So back to my original point, if Kate's DLC was supposed to come with an Omega level threat Super Adaptoid, who's to say that this Clint DLC is not going to come with an Omega level threat Maestro fight, right? So that'll be 2 Omega threat fights, Clone Labs, and Black Panther, who knows when. I think that'll keep players at least interested and engaged, for the foreseeable future until we get a big time raid with Wakanda. But if they just release Hawkeye, if there's just a campaign, right, and there's no change to the end game, Clone Labs doesn't come out by then, there's no Omega level threat Super Adaptoid, there's no Omega level threat Maestro fight, if there's nothing like that, people are going to come back, they're going to check out Hawkeye, and then they're just going to leave again. So if anything, if you take anything from this video, the bottom line is Hawkeye will bring them back, but an end game is what's going to keep them back. That's my analysis. Hoping for the best, just like everybody. That's all I've got today, guys. Again, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.